there, this is FemmeSciComm 7th vlog. I'm doing things a little differently today since I got some feedback saying that my blinds background is kind of bleh. So I'm doing this video from my bedroom today. I'm very receptive to feedback, so let me know what you guys think. Today's paper is on adenomyosis. Adenomyosis, if you haven't heard about it, affects 1 in 10 women in reproductive age, but the incidence rate may be higher, even up to 70%. Adenomyosis occurs when the endometrium migrates into the myometrial or the muscle wall of the uterus, and this causes lots of pain, dysmenorrhea, and heavy bleeding. The paper I'll be discussing characterizes this disorder a little bit. It was recently published in Reproductive Sciences, Expression of Cannabinoid Receptors in Myometrium and its correlation with dysmenorrhea and adenomyosis. The first author is Shen, and senior author is Lin, both from the Capital Medical University in Beijing. So let's get into it. This study asks the question, are the cannabinoid receptors CB1 and CB2 dysregulated in adenomyosis? First, what are cannabinoids? Endocannabinoids are the natural cannabis-like molecules produced by the human body. The main function of the endocannabinoid system is to maintain bodily homeostasis or body balance in response to changes in the environment. Endocannabinoids via cannabinoid receptors can trigger several signaling pathways which lead to anti-inflammation, anti-fibrosis, anti-tumor, pain control, and even reproductive regulation. Previous scientific research has determined that cannabinoid receptors contribute to the pain and development of endometriosis. This research group hypothesizes that given the close relationship between adenomyosis and endometriosis, and because these receptors have already been implicated in endometriosis, they may also play a role in adenomyosis. So we'll start with what they found. Through medical chart categorization, they found a relationship between women with adenomyosis, heavy menstrual bleeding, dysmenorrhea, and uterus volume. These results are statistically significant because the p-values are very low, less than 0.001. Next, the researchers look at levels of CB1 and CB2 in the uterus of women with and without adenomyosis. First, let me explain that the authors separated the uterus into different regions. There is the junctional zone, which is the immediate area outside of the endometrium, and there's the outer myometrium. The junctional zone has recently been implicated to play a role in adenomyosis development. This can be seen via MRI. Back to the results. They separate their data into the junctional zone and outer myometrium, as well as which phase of the menstrual cycle the uterus is in, proliferative or secretory. But regardless of these divisions, adenomyosis tissue has significantly more CB1 RNA levels compared to control tissue. Similarly, they found that adenomyosis tissue has significantly more CB2 RNA levels compared to control tissue. Via Western blot, the researchers determined adenomyosis tissue have higher levels of CB1 and CB2 protein. They quantify the protein levels here. The researchers also tested correlation between CB1 and CB2 levels only in the junctional zone with dysmenorrhea. The x-axes of these graphs are CB1 or CB2 quantities. The y-axes of these graphs are values for dysmenorrhea, which were taken by Visual Analog Scale or VAS. They found that CB1 protein levels in the junctional zone are positively correlated with dysmenorrhea severity, determining that if there is high CB1 protein in the uterine junctional zone from a woman with adenomyosis, they have more severe menstrual cramps and pain. So what does this all mean? This is the first study that looks at cannabinoid receptor expression in the uterus of women with adenomyosis. Both CB1 and CB2 levels are increased in adenomyosis uterine tissue versus non-adenomyosis uterine tissue. And CB1 protein positively correlates with dysmenorrhea, which means that if a woman with adenomyosis have high CB1 protein levels, That means that they are more likely to have severe menstrual cramps. The author's preconceived notion is that adenomyosis and endometriosis are sister disorders. And this is because the endometrium in both migrate from outside their normal position. Because cannabinoid receptors have already been found to play a role in endometriosis pain and establishment, the authors wanted to see if these receptors also play a role in adenomyosis. Which leads me to the caveats. Should endometriosis and adenomyosis be treated similarly? The authors assume that adenomyosis and endometriosis are very closely related. Other than the fact that the endometrium migrates from its normal position in both adenomyosis and endometriosis, they don't share any other characteristics. Research has found out that adenomyosis and uterine fibroids, however, are more closely related because they share elements of pathogenesis or development. And another caveat to point out, which shouldn't come off as too much of a surprise, but correlation does not determine causation. In Figure 3, the authors conclude that CB1 protein levels correlate with dysmenorrhea. However, this does not mean that CB1 protein causes the severe menstrual cramps. A third caveat to point out is that this study has a small sample size. However, the authors have stated that this is a preliminary observational study and functional studies must follow, probably starting with if CB1 plays a role in adenomyosis dysmenorrhea. Overall, this is the first study that looks at cannabinoid receptor expression in the uterus of women with adenomyosis. Because cannabinoid receptor expression has been characterized in endometriosis and is known to play a part in endometriosis pain and development, adenomyosis research can follow suit to determine if this is a characteristic both disorders share. More studies need to be done to determine if cannabinoid receptors indeed play a role in adenomyosis pain and establishment. This study introduces the idea that CB1 plays a role in adenomyosis pain, and if it's determined that indeed CB1 causes dysmenorrhea, then this may be a future therapeutic target from women suffering with adenomyosis pain. Thank you for reading, listening, and watching my assessment of this paper on adenomyosis and cannabinoid receptors. Keep informed, stay interested, and keep doing great women's health research. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in this content, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can also check out my website, FemmeSciComm.com, and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter at FemmeSciComm. Bye!